Now, where is the Netherlands? The Dutch people are from the Netherlands. I know most of the schools don't teach geography anymore. So it's important to understand where is the Netherlands. So here's the United States, here's Europe, and right here is the Netherlands. And you can see the Netherlands is surrounded by Belgium in the south and Luxembourg all the south, but Germany to the east here. So this is the area that we're talking about. Netherlands is actually part of NATO. Netherlands, Luxembourg were the founding members within NATO. So that's just to give you a quick background. So without delay, let's just go right to Mark Vanden Over, who's the president of the Farmers Defense Force, which has really been leading the Dutch farmers protesting, and Jeffrey Bigliato, who's one of our warrior scholars. Jeffrey, I want you to tell us how you met Mark. Go ahead, Jeffrey, and then if you can take about 1 minute, and then we'll go right to Mark. Go ahead, Jeffrey.
During the 4 days march in Nijmegen, I went looking for Mark. So it took me 3 days to find Mark. So on the last day, I met Mark, and yeah, I told him about the movement and about the interview. He was willing to work to get interviewed.
So I think, Jeffrey, you said you had to take a bus, a train, and then you had to walk, right, to find Mark.
Yeah, it took me like walking around in Nijmegen. I couldn't find Mark, so yeah, I met a professor. So I gave him a flyer. So
Can you show the
and,
flyer, Jeffrey?
yeah, it's
Because you,
like
you you took one of our flyers and you did
yeah
it in. I think you didn't you also do it
in Dutch. Yeah, it was
in Dutch.
translated.
Can you show it to everyone? So Jeffrey took one of our Beyond Left and Right flyers right there. Hold it still. Just hold it still because so the camera gets it. And then you translated it into Dutch, right?
Dutch. Yeah.
Show the
So
Dutch version. There. All right. Great.
and then I met Mark, and yeah, it was a good day. And Mark was like giving out cheese and milk and food. I got milk from Mark, and yeah, it was like was foods and drinks, and yeah, and people were walking by and getting
Great.
food and drinks.
So let's go to Mark. So, Mark, what we want to do is if you can educate people, Mark, if you can give us sort of the agricultural history of Netherlands. I know Netherlands is the #2 exporter next to the United States of agricultural goods. And then if you can talk about what's been going on, the media has essentially been trying to black this out and try to say this is something recent, but this has been going on for a long time. So go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, the history of agriculture in Holland, we have a long history with it, but it really started being the biggest exporter after the Second World War because our country was devastated and something needs to be done because in 1944 everybody was really hungry, and in 1945 there was a common sense that we never wanted to be hungry again. So then came the Americans in combination with a Dutch professor, and they find out the Marshall Plan. And with the Marshall Plan, they give a little credits to farmers to higher the production. So new techniques and bigger scale. After a while, they did a little new landscaping in our country, and they created new lands in the sea, and they make walls around it and pump out the water, and then created new grounds. The grounds turn out to be really fertile. It was the soil of the sea, but it was really fertile. So after 10 years of drying, this ground is the best ground maybe even in the world.
Wow.
And in the meantime, also, they collected small pieces of land, put them together, and traded everybody for everybody. So the land scale gets bigger. So we could start working with machines because it was also the time of industrialization. And the first tractors were coming because first was everything with horses and stuff. This turned out so well that production increased rapidly. And there was also a really booming economy with 10% a year. So also people were consuming a lot more. So this everything pushed really much agricultural economy.
Now, what year was that, Mark?
Yeah, around 1960.
Oh,
1960.
so prior to 1960, Holland wasn't really
So
big agriculture. So all of this was created through engineering. They pumped out. Got it.
and then they discovered in the north of Holland, they discovered a lot of gas was under the ground. And with this gas, of course, they were selling it to everybody in Europe and made a lot of money with it. But also we started with the greenhouses that we could grow exotic products like flowers or cucumbers or tomatoes, stuff like that. And we more and more specialize with this, but with this you get a lot of production of a small area. So like with tomatoes, you produce around 1 million kilo a hectare. This made also a lot of the export booming because we were so highly productive. It was also because of that. This go on for like 20, 30 years, but then also livestock increased. more and more. But then we started to walk to borders because there was a lot of manure and there was too many cattle and sometimes disease broke out. And then also politics started to change and they wanted to stop growing at least with animals. And this go on, but this politics changed and changed more and more. And from the idea from never getting hungry again, they started to think like we have enough food forever and it's never going to stop again anymore. So they wanted less and less food that we produce. That's more or less how it's going.